Hey everybody, and welcome back to Super Comic Fun Time. It is September 10th, nope, it's September 9th, 2018, and I just thought I'd do a quick update here. So recently I've been catching up on some of my comic reading. I've read Justice League 1 and 2, fantastic. I am so happy that something is finally coming up to the Venom scale, and I think right now this just matches it. It's hard to say with certainty since Venom has been excellent for I think 5 issues now, and there's only 2 issues of Justice League Dark, but it is really excellent. Highly recommend. I am so happy because after Man of Steel 5 I started to lose heart with regular monthly comics, and I just don't really want to read any more Brian Michael Bendis. So I haven't been, but it did kind of put a cramp in stuff, and I'm so glad that Justice League Dark, it just rises to that level. The artwork is fantastic. The first issue is not, it's sort of like any other team issue where we've got to build a team or we've got to get the team back together, and so Wonder Woman is basically going around and she finds Zatanna, and magic is all screwed up, and Wonder Woman seems to be the only one that cares, and none of the magic people seem to want to join together, and they're like this whole other community, and they don't trust like people who aren't magic users or something like that. And then it was good, it just wasn't fantastic, but the second issue is fantastic. So yeah, I would say, like, as a whole, I wish you could just cram down the first issue into like 5 pages and maybe make the first issue an expanded issue with the 5 pages of let's get the band together, and then go on with the story, because the second issue is fantastic. It's one of my favorite comic books now. I also caught up on The Flash. Speaking of favorites, I think The Flash, even though like there are times when I don't like it, and it's mostly has to do with Iris and Barry are together. When I read Jeff Johns' Flash run from, is it the early 2000s, or anyways, whenever it was, I can't remember Wally's wife's name, but whenever they were together, it was kind of cool. It seemed like an equal partnership. Whenever Barry is with Iris, she is the dominant one. He's like a little boy or something, and then when she's off on her own, she's kind of good. But yeah, so that's my minor thing about it, but it's my favorite even though it's not the best, just because there's something familiar about it. There's something it's like comic book to me. So the Flash kind of the current run on the Flash, which I started reading it with the start of the Flash War, and I think it will read a lot better in a collected series. But yeah, so then I've also read 2 of the Looney Tunes books that came out a week ago. I read Daffy Duck and Joker, which I liked a lot. I'll try to do a video later with that on there. The only thing that was kind of creepy is Daffy Duck's feet, and then it had a backup story, like a 6-page story or something like that, and that was okay too. But the main story with the Joker, the thing about it that I think made it really good is the focus was mostly on Daffy Duck. The story itself, when you examine it, it doesn't make much sense, but it was still enjoyable, and I think because the Joker takes kind of a back seat in this book, I think that's what makes it work. Whereas the other Looney Tunes book I read was Gossamer and Harley Quinn, and that is most definitely a strange book to try to do, and I think that's what they did is they made it a Harley Quinn book, and they just added Gossamer in there, and then Gossamer doesn't talk, and so there are certain limitations, but it's an okay story, but it's not as good as Daffy Duck and the Joker. And the artwork in both of those is really good. Like I say, I do have an issue with how they depicted Daffy Duck's feet in the main feature, and the backup feature is more cartoonish. Both of them have backup features. In the case of the Harley Quinn book, I actually enjoyed the backup feature more, which Harley was on the lam, and then she ends up at the haunted castle. She thinks it's, what's his name? The guy who creates all the monsters in Batman. Can't think of his name right now, but anyway, but then it's like the guy doing fiendish experiments on Gossamer, the mad scientist, and And so, yeah, that was just I like the backup story in there a lot better than the main story, but it was good. I mean, and the artwork is fantastic on both Harley Quinn and Daffy Duck. Um, then I was out today. I went to, I had to do my shopping, and I stopped at Half Price Books, as I want to do. And, nothing there really appealed to me. They did have like a pack of issues 1 through 12 of the handbook for the Marvel Universe from, I guess, 1989. I'm not exactly sure. But it was $20 for those 12 issues, and it didn't strike me as a deal, so I didn't pick it up. I did find this, though, which I've never heard of it. This is, I don't know if you can read it, but it says Khan and Cthulhu, the Cardboard Condo Concert by Matt Haworth. I have no idea who this is, and I'm going to take my first look at it here on the camera. I don't know who the writer/artist is. I don't know. This book is by Aeon, so let's see. That's what it looks like. It was originally $8.99, and I got it for $1. So, it's a mature reader's book. You can see there, and then it has this genie on the back. And then here you got the cover. Like it looks like a bunch of bums, and Cthulhu and this other guy, who I guess is Khan, are playing music for them. So yeah, okay. So it's a black and white book. There's the inside cover, and first moment, the idea zone. So here, this kind of reminds me of like, was it Howard the Duck? Howard the Duck magazine had kind of a feature called Street People at some point, which was emulating the underground comics of the 70s and 80s. And that's what this looks like. It looks kind of good. So if you're familiar with this title, let me know what you think. Did I get a bargain for $1? I think I did. Oh, look, there's some sheet music in here. If I only knew how to read music. Don't know if it plays to anything or if it's just art, but yeah, I'm really glad I got this. And then, like, since this was $1 and nothing else was really appealing to me, I just decided to look through the other comics to see if I could find anything that was interesting, so I'm not just spending $1. And I found this for $3, which I don't know, that might be a little expensive, but it fit my criteria for the time. So this is Superman. Is it Superman? The Adventures of Superman, number 500, which you can't really read, but I can see through the plastic, and it says "Back from the Dead." So, like, if you remember, Superman, the death of Superman, came out in a black polythene bag, and then I guess for the rebirth, they decided to do it white. Now, I know this event was nowhere near as big as the death of Superman, but I also know they printed a lot of the death of Superman, and so they probably printed a lot of this too. And so there's probably no reason for me to keep it in this bag, but I'm going to keep it in this bag. So that's all for now. I am grilling brats on this, as we head into fall. I'm going to be able to grill less and less. Have to cut the grass later today because we had a lot of rain here in Madison. We had some flooding. Next week, Saturday the 15th, is Superman Day, and next week is also around here my favorite little fair, which is Willie Street Fair. But I prefer to go to that on Sunday. So what I'm going to do is I have this huge pack that I got from Half Price Books earlier this year, and it has like a Two-Face episode. So I'm going to go ahead and make a video of that, and I'm going to post it up for Saturday for Batman Day. So you've got that to look forward to. And I hope everybody is doing great out there. If you, again, tell me about this book. This book looks really interesting to me. I'm really glad I was able to find it for $1. So is it a deal, or did I spend too much? I guess I'll find out for my own when I read it. And I've got a lot of bugs flying around, and it looks like my brats are boiling, so I got to go put them on the grill. Happy days. I feel so much joy and love to all the comic book readers, creators, and fans out there. Talk to you soon. Super Comic Fun Time out.